This is a 13 Weather Impact Alert.
Good Friday evening, West Michigan, here on this Valentine's Day evening. The time just a little after 9:15. Of course, we have more winter weather expected as the weekend goes on, including a burst of snow arriving within the next couple hours, in fact. Now, we're going to just go through this weekend, kind of explain things a bit on the slower side compared to our typical forecast during the newscast, give enough time to kind of let this all air out. You know, I think at the end of the day this weekend, we'll see some impacts here at home, but I'm not really anticipating anything major when it's all said and done, at least compared to what we have seen so far this winter. I think if anything, some of the bigger impacts will be felt on the east side of the state, especially Saturday night into Sunday. I think our biggest thing is that we'll have some on and off snow, and then we'll transition over to lake effect late in the weekend as some colder air spills through. So here's our weather timeline. There's a lot of moving parts with this over the next 48 hours. We do have some snow right at our doorstep right now. There's been a burst of snow pushing in a west-east fashion across much of the Midwest. It has been snowing over the last few hours across portions of Wisconsin into Illinois, and they've been dealing with some slippery spots, some quick accumulation, and that's what we're going to see coming up in the next few hours. Really, we'll say roughly between 10 o'clock this evening to around 3 in the morning. I think we're going to see a quick burst of snow, just enough to be, just enough to accumulate. I think on the order of a good 1 to 2 inches. Maybe someone can squeeze out a little bit higher than that, but a good quick 1 to 2 inches of snow with this initial burst. I think the bigger questions come throughout the day tomorrow. How much snow will actually be around? There still remains some uncertainty with the intensity, or at least the coverage of snow and the resultant intensity throughout the day tomorrow. I do think one thing that's trending a little likelier is that there will be a bit of a wintry mix southward of I-96 and especially towards I-94. We could see a mixture of snow, maybe some drizzle, possibly even freezing rain periodically towards I-94. That would cut down on snow totals, but obviously if we see a bit of a wintry mix, especially in the way of freezing rain set up near I-94. Even a glaze of ice can cause some issues. The biggest question of this forecast, kind of the true wild card, does come Saturday night into Sunday morning. What will happen is that there'll be a low pressure system brewing to the south of us, and it's going to work its way through the Ohio River Valley. And depending on where the center of that low pressure system tracks, that has a big what's the word I'm looking for here? It has a big thing for us in terms of snowfall to Saturday night and the Sunday morning, the second opportunity of additional snowfall. I think at this point, I'm really leaning towards that we're not going to see a lot of snow Saturday night and the Sunday morning, at least anything that is impressive for our standards, I think, at this point of winter. I think we can squeeze out maybe a couple inches of snow Saturday night and the Sunday morning, maybe an additional 1 to 4 inches. But I really think any true impacts are going to be felt on the east side of the state towards Metro Detroit in that Saturday night into Sunday morning time frame. We'll get to that in just a little bit, but the one thing is for sure, late in the weekend, we're going to have some colder air spill in, an Arctic air mass spilling back into the Great Lakes. And even though it's mid-February, the lakes are definitely on the colder side. We've seen some ice pick up on the Great Lakes over the last 6 weeks or so. There's still enough open water, and this air mass coming in will be enough to kick off some lake effect snow late in the day Sunday into Monday with some pretty cold temperatures even for this point of winter. Let's get into what's going on right now. Of course, here comes this little swath of snow that's pretty much right on our doorstep. We're seeing the initialization of snow coming pretty close to the lakeshore right now. In fact, it is snowing in the Benton Harbor area at the southwest corner of the state. So we'll likely see snow overspread much of West Michigan within the next hour or two. I'm already starting to try to see a few flurries reach the lakeshore. Let's see what the view in Muskegon is right now. I don't think, well, yeah, snow is reaching the ground. There it is, yeah. So we do have some snow already falling at the lakeshore. Not an issue of dry air with this initial burst compared to what we dealt with on Wednesday Some of that dry air really limited our snowfall, at least in the Grand Rapids area. But it looks like we're seeing a pretty quick onset of snowfall here in the Muskegon area. Let's see if I have our Grand Haven camera. At least try to get a view of how visibility is trending. Yeah, you can kind of see a little bit of a hazier look there towards the pier. So definitely a little bit of snow already reaching the ground. We'll go back to radar here, and you can see that there it is at the lakeshore, up and down. That's actually radar from the site at the Ford International Airport, where the Weather Service office is located, right next door to the airport. So some snow sneaking in towards parts of Van Buren, Kalamazoo County, and then along 31 at the lakeshore. This is our expectation through tonight, is that we'll see this snow overspread us for a few hours. I think we'll have a good 3-4-ish hour stretch of this burst of snow, and then we'll see a lot of this lift out of here quickly. I think by the middle of the night, 3, 4 in the morning, this initial burst will be out of here. Really the true question, I think, after this initial burst of snow is the amount of snow that we'll see throughout our Saturday during the daytime hours. This is one of the latest runs of the HRRR model, which is a high resolution model. And you can see that it's trying to indicate actually that wintry mix sneaking up as far north as a Holland, Grand Rapids, Ionia line. So really something we'll keep an eye on as we go into tomorrow morning. But notice as the day continues into Saturday afternoon, still scattered snow showers around. I think that will be okay as the day goes on. If you have out and about plans for tomorrow, while there might be some slick roads per se, I don't think there's any need to cancel plans for your Saturday. I think you'll be okay, especially if you don't have a huge issue with driving in the snow. I think it would be mostly towards the end of the day, once we get past sunset tomorrow, where it could be a bit on the tricky side. But I think most of our Saturday, despite some snow around, maybe a wintry mix, I don't really think you need to cancel any of those out and about plans. What we're looking at from what's going to fall right about now through the end of the daylight hours tomorrow is a broad 2 to 5 inches of snow. And again, I want to make this clear here. This is just through tonight, pretty much right now. We can kind of get rid of the 10 o'clock, just say 9 o'clock right now, through 7 in the evening tomorrow. I think from roughly Ottawa, Kent, Ionia County to the north, we'll see a good 2 to 5 inches of snow. I think many in that 2-3 inch range. I think there'll be some localized spots that near 4 or 5 inches, not necessarily widespread, but definitely in that dark blue, a good 2+ inches of snow. So again, is that really impressive for us at the end of the day? It's mid-February by now. We've seen a lot more, but it definitely is enough to, add on to the snowpack somewhat. But southward of I-96, and especially once you get into Allegan, Barry County to the south, I think there's going to be a decent amount of mixing throughout the day tomorrow. So we'll see this quick initial burst of snow. That's what might allow you to get that quick inch or two. But I think much of tomorrow, you won't really see too much in the way of additional snow just because of that wintry mix. In fact, tomorrow, we're expecting temperatures to be close to 32 degrees, the freezing mark, and actually have Kalamazoo and Battle Creek closer to the mid-30s for a few hours tomorrow. So that would really limit snow accumulation. National Weather Service, they have their own winter weather advisory in place from 11 this evening. Probably could have been bumped up a little earlier in the evening with the snow already arriving. Regardless, this is going to go through 7 in the evening tomorrow. On the east side of the state, we're about to get into this in a second, they have that blue coloring. That's a winter storm watch. They actually do have an advisory in place right now, but that blue is for a winter storm watch with the possibility of some heavy snow tomorrow night into Sunday morning. I wouldn't be surprised that a few of those counties on the east side of the state get upgraded to a warning based on how the trend has been today in terms of that second round of snow tomorrow night into Sunday morning. And really, this is what it comes down to, is that we got a low pressure system coming in from the north, from the south. There it is. We're going to really expand this view here. In fact, there's going to be a fair amount of thunderstorms in the deep south, in fact, and there's a good possibility of actually severe weather across portions of the deep south. There's an enhanced risk in play. Let me get it right here on our day 2. Yeah, across portions of Louisiana, Mississippi, into southern Arkansas, right in this area tomorrow in the afternoon, in the early evening. And there is the potential of severe weather, all the way up to a level 3 enhanced risk out of 5. So this is a very dynamic storm system, but you can see this is where the center of low pressure is Saturday at about 6 in the evening. We got this warm air coming from the south, a lot of convection riding along a cold front. There's the warm front. And what happens on these real dynamic systems is that you get a moisture feed to the north. And that's what we're seeing on the back side of this system, or at least on the northern side of this system. And it's really going to come down to where this low pressure system tracks. It's likely going to strengthen and go up the Ohio River Valley. There's 2 possible outcomes here. And this is why there's some uncertainty still in terms of how much snow we'll see here in West Michigan. There's 2 camps of where all the models are kind of going towards. One is for a slightly easterly track and a slightly weaker low pressure system as it lifts to the north Saturday evening. I would say that that is the more favorable outcome as we go into Saturday night. And what that will do is focus most of the focus most of the heavier snow Saturday night into Sunday morning on the east side of the state. What does that mean for us here in West Michigan? Still that we would see some snow, but generally on the lighter side and on the order of a couple inches at best. There is still the possibility that we see this low pressure system strengthen a bit more than expected and take a track through the Ohio River Valley and actually be a bit farther to the west in western Ohio towards the Toledo area. That would allow heavy snow across the east side of the state, but also allow some heavy snow to work its way into West Michigan as well and to really pile up the snow Saturday night and the Sunday. I'm not really leaning in that direction just based on kind of the trend here over the last 12 hours or so. Obviously, you can go on social media and there are probably dozens and dozens of forecasts you can look at. There's some very popular ones screaming big time snow for us in West Michigan. I'm just not really seeing it, I think, at this point of the forecast. It's not to let our guard down by any means, but I definitely don't think we need to grab the milk and bread, per se, as we go into tomorrow night and Sunday morning. I think we're going to manage this weekend pretty well in terms of snow. So let's kind of get back into it. I'm going to get back to a view of Michigan. There we go. So snow, we'll see that low pressure system lift northward. Snow will be around Saturday evening. I'm sure there will be some pockets of moderate snow in places in West Michigan. But look what happens as the night goes on. Notice how there's the low pressure system. You can see the circle right there. Those are pressure lines. There it is. There's the low. You notice those darker shades of blue really favoring the east side of the state. Compared to us, where this is lighter shades of blue, even a shading of white, that's indicating some lighter, more dispersed snowfall. And that will continue through Sunday morning. Now, we do have additional opportunities of snow late in the day Sunday into Monday because, well, we're in proximity of Lake Michigan and we know how it goes. We'll see the winds turn to the west-northwest and we'll kick up a little bit of lake effect for our lakeshore counties late Sunday into Monday. So I think at this point we have that initial snowfall map from now to the end of the daylight hours tomorrow. Many kind of in that 2 to 5 inch range. I think right now we could maybe add on another 1 to 3 inches of snow Saturday night, so tomorrow night and the Sunday morning. That would put many of us kind of in that 3 to 7 inch range when this is all said and done by, let's say, Sunday afternoon. I'm really not that concerned about snowfall getting out of hand. I wouldn't actually be surprised that a fair chunk of us are on the lower side of snowfall totals as the weekend goes on. But obviously we just need to keep an eye on how things evolve over the weekend. do think with it being the weekend, maybe some of you have travel plans to Lansing or Detroit or Port Huron, Flint, Saginaw, you name it. I think anything on the east side of the state, and if you have travel plans to this weekend, just really keep in mind that they have a better opportunity of heavier snow Saturday late in the day through the first half of Sunday, especially Saturday night. And that's why they're under that winter storm watch. All this shaded in this coloring of blue right here. That is the winter storm watch. And I think they have the better opportunity to really pile up the snow towards the end of tomorrow into early Sunday. So obviously we'll keep a close eye on how things evolve, but that's just kind of my latest thoughts there. You can see this cold air mass. No matter what happens this weekend snow-wise, we're going to get pretty cold early next week. Cold Arctic air mass drops down, and it's going to stick around at least for a few days next week. I think Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, daytime highs only in the around 15 to 20 degrees at best. Nighttime lows on either side of zero, depending on how our cloud coverage is. At this point of February, our average daytime high and nighttime low are starting to rise because we're actually closer to the first day of spring now than we are the first day of winter. So we are getting to the point where that average temperature is rising. We should be at around 33, 34 degrees now for a daytime high. Teens, that only puts us, that's a good 15, almost 20 degrees below average. So pretty cold air mass even for this time of year, this point of winter. And that's definitely going to be what we look for. I'm just going to kind of show some raw data here real quick, and then we'll go back to our timeline, go back to radar, and we'll wrap this up. This is some of the model data that we're looking at. This particular one, this is the HRRR, kind of the model run I just showed you from a future radar perspective. This is all the way through the end of Saturday, or roughly 6, 7 o'clock Saturday, so the daylight hours. And this is what we're kind of leaning on, what we think is going to happen. That broad 3, 4, maybe isolated spots, a bit more than that, near and north of I-96. At least many in that 3-inch range. 1 to 2 inches southward where there's some mixing. But notice Saturday night into Sunday morning, definitely more favored for the heavier snow to be on the east side of the state. Especially as you get closer between Bad Axe and the Port Huron area. We still might sneak in a couple inches Saturday night, just depending on how those bands set up, but the east side of the state is pretty favored. Here's the European model. This model has not been aggressive for snow pretty much the last 3 days. It's been pretty consistent that we won't see much snow, so something to keep in mind. This goes through the end of Saturday, and it's only spitting out an inch or two at best, and look what it does through Saturday night and the Sunday morning. This would mean very little snow across much of the state, but still, you kind of get the trend there favoring the east side towards Metro Detroit for anything that's heavier compared to us. I will say that the European model definitely has been the weakest in terms of snowfall out of most of the guidance that we look at. This is the North American model. This one's been the most aggressive model by far. I think some people are looking at this model a little too much compared to what they should be, but to each their own. This model is definitely spitting out some high numbers, and I just don't believe it. I really don't. I think this is a little bit too aggressive, but we'll see. Obviously, you can see still, even if this would come to fruition, still favoring the east side of the state for heavier snow. Then you got the American model that's kind of been in between a little bit here. There's the look through tomorrow evening, broad 2 to 4 inches, and then tries to spit in, some additional snow from roughly Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo to the east. But again, you can kind of see the trend here, mostly favored towards the east side of the state for any heavier snowfall with that second swath tomorrow night into Sunday morning. So that's kind of what we look for in terms of these models, because models only go so far. You got to put the meteorology to it as well. And the trend there with totals is just indicating that the east side will see a little bit more. But again, this doesn't include any of the lake effect that our lakeshore will see later Sunday into early next week. Even if the lakeshore, you're watching from the lakeshore and you don't pick up that much, through, let's say, Sunday midday. There'll still be some tricky travel towards the end of the weekend with that lake effect and temperatures really falling off. We're going to see temperatures be very cold to the point where salt and all that's not really effective. So that's kind of our basis for right now. Just to go back for those that are, joining us, here's our, weekend timeline. We're seeing snow arrive kind of right about now, especially at the lake shore and those that are near I-94 towards the state line. Everyone will see a quick burst over the next few hours, probably on the order of a quick inch or so, inch or two, maybe a few spots nearing 2 to 3 inches of snow. So again, very manageable, but if you're heading out and about tonight, I could sense that those roads will turn quite slick rather quickly tonight. We've been pretty cold the last couple days. Once we get into Saturday, there it is, some scattered snow showers through the day, and then keeping an eye on that wintry mix towards I-94. And really kind of now I'm kind of thinking that this might sneak in as far north as I-96, where there could be some times of drizzle, some ice pellets in the way of sleet, maybe just some straight up freezing rain. So I think that needs to be watched closely, because if we can get a glaze of ice, that can do more than a few inches of snow in terms of impacts. But I think for the most part, north of 96, we'll see some scattered snow showers through the day, add on another inch or so of accumulation. Don't think it'll get out of hand. As I just mentioned, Saturday night and the Sunday morning, that's the biggest wild card of this weekend forecast. The potential for, big time snow, but I really just I'm not sensing it. That's what my gut's telling me, that a lot of that's going to be on the east side of the state, and we'll avoid the greatest impacts. But, we still got 24 hours before that would arrive. So, we can see how the trend goes through tonight and tomorrow morning. Meteorologist Amber Tardy is going to be here in the morning tomorrow, breaking down the latest trends from the data. And then meteorologist Colton Woods will be here tomorrow evening and night to focus on that second round of snow. But before we get out of here, we're coming up on 9:40 now. We've been talking for a good 20-ish minutes. There's the snow, this initial swath. It's not going to break the bank per se for our standards, but there's been plenty of reports across Wisconsin and Illinois from this swath that got pretty messy quick with this burst of snow. And there it is, Muskegon, Kalamazoo, towards Benton Harbor, seeing some of that snow. We'll go back to the Muskegon camera. And yeah, there it is. You can kind of see visibility on the reduced side. Looks like those roads are greasing up once again with the snow reaching the ground. Yeah, you can kind of see some of the tire tracks there. So there it is. Yeah, you can see some fresh tire tracks. So this is quickly accumulating and will probably be the case. We'll see. Let's get back to our Muskegon camera here. And yeah, there we go. So something we'll have the latest on at 11 o'clock, myself and Juliet, and we'll kind of go from there. But that's what we're thinking right now. At the end of the day, it's mid-February. We'll be good. I don't sense that we're going to see anything too major at this point of the forecast. But of course, if things do change, Mother Nature always has the final say here. We'll always keep you updated and let you know how things are trending as the weekend goes on. But again, if you do have travel plans to the east side of the state, especially tomorrow night into Sunday morning, just be aware that it could get a bit dicey in that time stretch. Of course, we have the Rascal Flats concert here at Van Andel. I know I have a few friends coming from the east side of the state tomorrow night and trying to drive back tomorrow night to the east side of the state. I think they're going to run into some issues. So again, just something to keep in mind as we go into tomorrow night and the Sunday morning. All right, well, I think we're going to leave it there. It's 9:40. Hope everyone's had a good day, good Friday. We're heading to the weekend. It's hard to believe we're already at the midway point of this month of February. If you're ready for spring, we've got a little bit to go. We still got a good week to go, but we're getting there. Spring will be here before we know it. That's for sure. All right, I'm meteorologist Blake Hansen. Have a great rest of your Friday evening, everyone. We'll see you at 11 if you want to tune in. WZZM Channel 13 at 11, myself and Juliet. If not, have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you later.
This has been a 13 Weather Impact Alert.